It's your host over here, Runa, and I got a special invitation for you. Join me and the Changemakers in the No More Boxes movement, where we are raising awareness towards this limiting and isolating behavior that we human beings are constantly doing, placing ourselves and others into boxes. Invisible boxes that so often are not really serving humankind. All you have to do is to go to patreon.com/no more boxes, and for as little as $3 a month, you can become a changemaker and be with us on that journey, changing the world. Now let's get on with that podcast. You're listening to the Changemakers podcast, where we share tips, insight, tools, and stories from other changemakers designed to motivate you to become the change you want to see in your world. Make sure you join our Changemakers community at runamagnus.com/podcast. And now, this is your time to sit back, relax, and enjoy. Good morning. It's Runa here with yet another episode from the Changemakers podcast. And what a guest I have today, calling from all the way from France, Marc Amerigo. I have to tell you a little bit about Marc before I dive into asking him all these difficult questions. Marc is a person that really captures your attention for one thing in particularly, for me at least, and that is the amount of safe energy that is around him. From the moment that I met him and throughout the years that I've known him, it's been something about safety that this man brings to the world. He is the icon for that in my world. So I had to ask him to come and be a guest in the Changemakers podcast to share with us all the things about feeling safe and doing things in a way that you're living your life to the fullest, yet feeling safe about it, which is something that I think Marc can share a whole lot to us. So I'm super excited to hear his wisdom, and I know you're going to love this episode. So Marc, welcome to the Changemakers podcast.
Good morning, Runa. Thank you for inviting me. I'm blessed, very happy, very grateful. Good morning, everybody, for the one who are listening. I'm very glad that we have this conversation. For me, you're the person from the north, volcanoes, wild places, wild weather, wild climate. And here, as you can see, southern France is more like sun, standard, like a very, very safe place for me. So I'm very glad that we have this talk between these two worlds.
In the two worlds, the north and the south of Europe, exactly. Marc, I'm going to head into my question immediately. So can you share with us what you do and in the world and why? How does this whole thing start?
So what I do is to bring harmony and performance in places where it's complex and sometimes chaotic. It's in very different fields. So what I know, what I'm able to, is to get in a place. So that can be a nuclear plant, that can be some extreme sports, world record attempt, can be any kind of dangerous, complex environments. Mm-hmm. And what I know is how to bring harmony there and find performance, ultra performance. So we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
So that's what I know about. So it's a lot about technical side and the human side, how to be at the top level technically, mm-hmm. and how to be in a very high level of connection between people. That's how you get to this harmony and performance point. That's my know-how.
Yeah, and that's quite something. So it sounds like you have this brilliant engineering brain linked with this beautiful heart-centered emotional being that can be both. I mean, wow, what a beautiful harmony that is. You're working in nuclear plants and you're working with those high achievers, sport I almost want to say idiots, because they go so far in their extreme words.
They are not, believe me, they are not.
No, I know. This was just top. This is my own box thinking. I would never do that. I would be too scared. But they do, and you help them, and you give them. They're going on the top of mountains, and they're going bike riding down a mountain. I mean, gosh, and they do it because they trust you completely. Can you tell us, how did this phenomenon really start for you? I mean,
so it's like a long story. Just to make it clear about what I do. People call me because of the engineering side. So they call me to find solutions. Mm-hmm. So let's say that Eric Baron, who's has the world record with 228 kilometers on his mountain bike going downhill. So that's the current world record. So Eric calls me and he tells me, like others do, I need you because of your technical know-how. Find me a solution and help me to get to this world record. So I am in charge of the whole project technically. Same thing with the nuclear plants. Big companies, they call me and they ask me to be in charge of the project, find solutions and make it happen. So the entry is through the engineering side mainly.
Yeah.
And then there's that project management thing, which is about organizing. So that's what people focus on. But my part, for me, this part is not the main part. People don't know about it, but this is like what you rely on. That's your know-how. So I know about it. I will find solution. I will find people who know about it and help me to do it. Yeah. But the main part is the human side of it, because without it, you won't make it. So my own story, when I was a kid, I was very emotional, very sensitive. I was crying a lot. I was overwhelmed with emotions and getting information from the outside. I had to deal with it. And because I was crying pretty often because I was very sensitive, I decided to close the box and just forget about it. Yeah. So I became an engineer, and then I became kind of machine. It's like a terminator of what I was doing. So in any kind of project, so I was able to focus without emotions, get to the point, do the job, and get to the next one, next mission. So I've been like doing this thing for about, let's say 25 years, something like that. And at some point, these emotions were always here, coming back and like bouncing on the door. And with one of the biggest achievements that we made with a world record a few years ago, that was more than 3 years ago, I just like blown up. When we broke the world record, I've been crying for like half an hour. Uh-huh. I couldn't control anything. And I was like, this whole pressure, this whole thing just to get to the pure performance is nonsense. Mm-hmm. Something is missing. Yeah. Something is wrong. You push people, you push the technical side, you push everything, you get to your target. That's what we do in our industry today. That's what the world is doing. You get to the target and forget about the people, forget if you like kill them, burn out and anything, just like get there. And then you're happy. And then you don't even celebrate just because everybody's exhausted. So you're just like, okay, what's the next project? What's the next mission? Yeah. So I was crying in front of this kind of situation. A guy broke the world record. He could have died. Yeah. People around him could have died. And what's the point? We're all exhausted. Yeah. Exhausted. Yeah. And so that's when things moved back to what about bringing emotions? What about bringing like pure connection? Yeah. Not about knowing each other, but like pure connection. You can rely on the others fully. They can rely on you all the time. Yeah. And that's how you get back to what we have in us, in our DNA. We are part of a tribe. We've always been part of a tribe in our past. Okay. That's in us. So what about activating our senses, activating our connection to the outside, the universe, the people, nature, animals, any kind of emotions that can help us handling our environment. So my journey is about that. So it's been like shifting when I was a kid to high emotions, uncontrollable, couldn't understand why I had this, why I was so different from the others. Then you close the box, you know about boxes, right? Yeah. So you put like a big box on it and you're like a perfect engineer guy.
Yeah.
And then you come back to some kind of other balance, like high level balance. So ultra performance. So what I do is ultra performing. Ultra performance is reaching two goals. The first one is get to your target, and you get even higher than that. You have better results than you could imagine when you start the project. Okay, that's one side, the technical side. It can be any point, technical, financial, organization, anything. Okay, management, whatever. On the other side, you got the human side, work together, and that's about accomplishment, personal accomplishment, collective and individual. People get out of the project at a higher level. Everybody grows. Higher target, top level for people. So that's what I do.
Yeah. It sounds to me when you say that, and I think actually this is really, really interesting and most likely extremely common, especially I think for boys, that at one point they tell themselves, I can't show my emotions. I'm not going to survive if I do that.
You hide it.
You hide it and you build it in. And at one point, when you're full, you're speaking of space and things in space, when you're full and you can't, your emotion you're not been able to express your emotions, it's just bound to go out. I'm actually a little bit surprised it only took you half an hour to cry.
I've been crying later on. I mean,
yeah,
but
well, yeah, exactly. But now that you are so open with it, and you're so successful with the things that you're doing, and you're so open with expressing that you need that balance between the being in your emotion and being in a brilliant state of engineer.
It doesn't matter. You don't lose it.
Yeah,
that was one big concern. I was like, what about if I bring emotions back in?
Yeah.
Will I forget about my engineering know-how?
Yeah.
It's like it's pure emotion. So what about the engineering side? Will I lose something about it? Yeah. Or will it be okay? And the good news about it's like for everybody who will be listening to this thing is that both like grow. Yeah. You're better engineer and you're better about emotion and connections. The engineering side doesn't collapse.
No, it doesn't. It's like,
no. It's still there. It's like part of you.
It feels to me like you just grow. That time you just kind of like became this huge human being, meaning just you started to shine. There was you didn't have to hide anything. No,
I was feeling better. And I feel better every day I go through. Yeah. Because it's about safety, one of your concerns was about safety.
Yeah.
Being safe, feeling safe. I got an example, a very short one. During the last world record, what we've done was to have T-shirts on us measuring our heart rates. And from this heart rate, we measure the variability. It's not the heart rate, but the variability of the hearts. Yeah. So all of us, we equipped with this thing and monitoring. So we've been watching it. In the morning of the attempt and the world record, 5:30 in the morning. At night, I give a short brief to the people. Mm-hmm. And I would say 3 minutes, you see all the stress level dropping, and mainly guys, all the level of stress went down to zero, just because I have been saying, and Eric did the same like for a minute, we're here, everything is ready, we can rely on each other, we're all together as a tribe, here we are, here we go, let's move in the flow. That's about it. And everybody was like feeling safer because we were together, men, women, anybody, artists, technical guys, champions, everybody was like connected. So it's a lot about that. And this thing is real and works everywhere. So when I get in a place, when people call me, most of the time, they call me because it's a mess. It's like chaos. And they're like, okay, just like, please help us. I mean, we're like in a big mess here. Like, do you have any idea of what we can do, Mark? So that's how it starts. Yeah. So when I get there, I'm like, okay, breathe, because I get in a place where people are excited. They judge each other, tensions, leadership is not stable because they don't know what they're going to do. And there's a big mess technically. Mm-hmm. So you have to put everything back on track, I would say. And most of the time, if you can rely on nature, people, the quality of people, the potential of the connections, the fact that technically there is always a solution, always. You can always find someone on earth that will find you and help you in finding a technical solution. So there's no deal about that.
Yeah.
And when you know that all these things can help and there is a vision of a way out, you're safe. So you can breathe in, watch around you, get informations, tension there, technical problem here, the client, who is the client? He's okay. And you move on, and step by step, like everything is like getting back to harmony. Because harmony is everywhere. Harmony is like chaos is just in our minds, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Safety is everywhere. It's right there. Just like
and the way that you're describing it, when you realize that you're in a team and you have their back, they have your back, that actually just that being relaxed about a big project, like that, being relaxed, it gives you focus. So you're not being disturbed by other things that are, like you're saying, the chaos that is in your head. You can just be in the moment. And
because you're in the moment. That's very true. You have to be in the moment. If you're there thinking about the future, what will happen tonight, blah, 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 you have to be there with them, like in charge. You're there, you get in. Okay, we have to focus on the situation now all together. Just like come back here, come closer. Okay, let's think about it all together. So it's a lot about that, like being in the present time. That's when things happen.
Yeah.
Your future comes from what you do like now.
Yeah.
What we say now is maybe deep or has some sense just because we are here together talking to each other, not thinking about something else.
Yeah.
You know? Same as my train tonight. No, forget it.
Yeah. It's really magical when you feel it goes into your DNA, that feeling of being in now. I often say that when I realized the Icelandic word for perfect, if I translate it directly, it means fully present. Fully present. So, you hear the term, well, I'm not perfect. Or no one is never perfect, or whatever. People use the word perfect quite in a different way, but often it's like it's impossible to become perfect. And I always think, if you're fully present.
An input about that. When you look at nature, you think it's perfect, right?
Yeah.
It's perfect. Nature lives in the present time.
Yeah.
Everything is aligned. Everything is like interacting naturally. Yeah. No question. It's like beauty. When men put mess somewhere, after a few months, few years, like nature like comes back and just like brings harmony again.
Yeah.
In the present time, like in infinite small actions in the present time that create nature around us, like the way it is. So perfect.
It's perfect. Exactly. It's fully
so I like
present.
This word is amazing. Fully present. It's great.
Exactly. And I think, and what you're saying, it feels like a proof to me. It's the simplest thing that is the flow, that simple. It's when we complicate it, when it goes into chaos.
I found out that the more you go at the source of who we are, our DNA, as I said, with tribes, our senses, our emotions, like believing in us, trusting us in the deepest of ourselves, that's where things are like obvious. In a tribe, in an ancient tribe, like pygmies or this kind of tribes, there is no tension, no ego, no fight, no judgment. The leadership is like changing depending on what happens. So the person in charge would just like be the leader because he knows about what they're facing. So this is about tribe, and this is about our DNA. We have it in us. In a tribe, you forget about our modern world, like benevolence, respect, taking care of the others. All these things are natural. You don't have to think about it. And what I like is come back to our sources of who we are, because all our management things, all our bullshit stuff from our society is just like a nonsense, a creation of our brains, because we got all the solutions inside us. So forget about like putting like boxes. How was I today? I was about respect for the others. Okay, like 4 out of 5. Okay, I'll try to do better tomorrow. Doesn't make sense.
No.
Just be yourself, just be a human being connected to the others, and you won't think about that. Like you will focus on your present
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
what you're doing, you know?
Yeah.
So we're
And
creating so many boxes.
we are creating boxes all the time, and I think it's and there are, one of the good boxes would be being in a tribe that you feel safe to be yourself. And hopefully I would like to create a world where everyone can find a place where they really feel that they can be themselves, and it doesn't have to, I would like the world to be the way that everyone could authentically share their true value.
But we've been destroying it. There's a book, the name of the book is Tribe, Sebastian Junger. And this guy is explaining in the ancient time with the Indians in the US, they've always seen white people getting trapped in Indian tribes. And then they were stuck there. They just didn't want to leave. And they were kidnapped by the white people to bring them back home in their family. And those white guys will escape to go back to the Indian tribe.
Oh, wow.
Imagine that. Never happened the other way around. Never.
No.
Never had an Indian getting to the white cities.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, so that is so interesting. Yeah.
We destroyed it.
So we're going back to the basics.
I think so. We need that.
Yeah, we need that. I agree with you.
We need to open the minds and then allow people to look for a tribe, look for this kind of connection, pure connection.
Yeah.
Here and there.
Yeah.
It's not a universal mindset. The companies don't work as tribes. That's why I try to push. Like we got a method that we developed with Leo Kadi Bakise and also with David Brower and Soil Guy. Yeah. And so we've been working on creating this art of a tribe performance through a method that we call tribes. So tribe, we take the letters TRIBE and S for strategy, and we go through a process where we bring people back to their deepest senses, how you find it back in, and how you learn about you as a person, individual, and how you do that collectively.
That sounds like something you're leaving your box, your ugly or bad box, by doing that process. By understanding who you really are and just open it up. Yeah. Wow. That is leaving the box, or meaning leaving the ugly box or the bad box and going into a good one that is nurturing you as being in a good tribe that allows you to be who you really are.
But true. Yeah, we found out one thing. It's not because you bring stuff back from the tribal senses, tribal DNA, that you forget about the corporate world. You keep using all the methods, process, and everything that's been structured. So you keep the good side of it, the good point of it, which is like being really performing all the time, like quite reliable pace. But in the meantime, this tribe thing brings higher connection. So everything is elevating together. Performance and human connection.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's not leaving the modern world. It's like amplifying what we've done.
Yeah, exactly.
Breaking the ceiling, the glass ceiling that we have.
Wow. And again, that is really leaving the ugly box.
Yeah.
By breaking that ceiling. And exactly. Marc, one final question. This has been so interesting. I ask this question a lot as a change maker, and I see you being a change maker. What would you say, what is the change that you want to see in the world?
The change that I want to see in the world is people trusting people.
People trusting people.
For the best.
People trusting people for the best, And your role in creating that change.
It makes a whole difference. Any place you go, if you can create that, you win. You achieve your goals, whatever they are. You get there smoothly, in a flow. Confidence.
Exactly. Wow, yeah. Marc, thank you so much for being a guest. This was so interesting.
Thank you, Runa.
And for our listeners, you can go to runamagnus.com/podcast and find the episode with Marc, where we will keep all the secrets, the links to his websites and social media and other goodies.
Thank you.
It's bye for me now. Was this podcast of value for you? I sure hope so. If so, feel free to share the love and give us your generous review on iTunes or Stitcher. And remember that you can always go to runemagnus.com to find out more about the Changemakers and how we can help you drive the change you want to see in